Well, welcome to the show, Beth Z. I love that your tagline is your nerdy best friend, and you even have nerd on your jacket, so that
Very
just makes
nice,
me
very
so
nice.
happy. I'm glad you're with your nerdy people here.
This is
So
true.
welcome to Grant Summit. Yeah.
I see you. I see you
Yes.
people.
I feel
Yes.
seen.
So we want to start off with just a light topic. Let's talk about AI. Just
Yeah,
like
no controversy.
no,
Yeah,
none
like
whatsoever.
just like we're talking about beans.
Yeah.
It's
just
a thing.
easy stuff.
It's a thing. So clearly, a godsend to some people, very scary to others. People are worried about the ethical components, especially when it comes to using it in our field for grant writing and other copy. So, what is it that you love about the tool, and how or have you found it's able to work best for you and what you do,
Or have
or
you?
do you not?
Oh,
Love
do
it?
I not use it?
Yes.
No, we just wanted to give you that out in
Oh,
case
Yes.
you were
yes.
like,
I'm using it right now to speak to you.
Yeah.
Like I use it all the time.
Yes.
So
can
let
you,
me.
Can you walk us through a little bit of that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a story about why this really hits home to me.
Yeah, yeah.
I was a community college instructor
Okay.
for several years, and I taught the class right before English 101. They weren't quite
Like-
ready to take
Like a
it.
remedial class, maybe?
Yeah,
sorta?
it kind of just like a beginning, like let me get you ready for that. And I had a student who was amazing. He should have been a motivational speaker. I hope he went on to be one. He was charming. He was eloquent. He was amazing to talk to. You just loved being with him.
Yeah.
And he could not write.
Oh,
And it broke my heart. I had to fail him.
oh.
And the reason I had to fail him was because you cannot function in a world that requires that skill. In
Yeah.
a business world that requires that skill. You don't have the capability to do that with these skills. And it was tough because, he was in community college. Everybody in community college, in my eyes, is sacrificing something in their lives to make that happen.
Right.
Yeah.
So he was going back to school, he was in community college, really trying to go forward, and I'm like, this is just a stop sign for him. And now there are no stop signs.
Interesting.
I am a good writer. I've got a master's degree in journalism. We were talking to grant writers. They're good writers. We write for a living
Yeah.
in different ways. Everybody is now a good writer. That
This is true.
guy can write as well as I can now. And it's scary in some ways, in lots of ways.
Right.
But it's also a great equalizer. It's a great common ground now for everyone to have these skills that, as writers, y'all probably know this is a skill that I didn't even know I had it. I
Right.
can remember the day I realized people couldn't write. Other people couldn't write. I was like, I turned in something and they're like, struggling in the back. I'm like,
Yeah.
and they said, well, this is really hard. And I'm like, it is? I didn't know.
I have had this discussion with my husband so many times because he's a teacher, but he's not. I'm like all about business communication,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, here, just do this, and he's like, it's so easy for you, and I just took it for granted for years.
Yes, I
Yeah.
took it for granted.
Ah!
Sorry.
Dun, dun,
We're here all day, people.
all day. Tip your bartender.
I'm not. I'm leaving soon. Is that okay?
That's cool.
That's
That's,
okay.
that's fine.
So that to me is the transition that's happening, is that we're now equalizing a lot of those things. But now that we're equalizing a lot of those things, we, the grant writing industry, have the possibility to amplify ourselves so much
Yeah.
above everybody else because we already have the baseline. We are beyond the baseline of excellent. And now if we use this for the crappy jobs, the boring jobs,
Yeah.
the just work jobs, not the thinking jobs or the charming jobs, the just work jobs. I just have to put these words on the page and
Yeah.
I have to fill these things. And those kind of things, if we can learn how to use AI to facilitate that, we as an industry, writers as an industry, are going to be far above. Now, the fear is in our industry that a whole bunch of people who don't know anything about grant writing and who don't have that baseline of excellence are going to come in here and like, watch this, poof, boom.
Yeah.
And but that heart and that skill of knowing what what we're choosing.
Yeah, that humanity is not there when you're
Yes.
using
But
that.
also that whole, because we always say that like grant writing is like 80% not writing. It's all the other stuff like building consensus and strategic focus and building a budget and getting
collecting
buy-in,
those attachments.
forming partnerships. And so, but the writing part is super important, but it's not like I think it should be called grant development. So
there
if
you go.
if you can speed up the writing, and then if you have a discerning eye and can really make sure you answer all those questions and spend all your time on that other stuff, you'll be able to write more grants.
Yeah.
You'd be able to write more grants. When people go through the process of figuring out what they need to outsource, right? A lot of small businesses, a lot of one-people shops need to sit down there and say, what am I bad at? What takes me too long? What drags me down? What am I doing at midnight on the weekends? Like, what are those pieces that I could outsource? That list we should apply to these skills.
It's true.
Yeah.
And focus on the things we can't outsource.
Yep.
And then just give the rest of it, at least for a first draft. It's a junior copywriter.
Yep.
It's a master's level intern you don't have to pay.
Yeah.
Who is sitting behind
Truth
you at
spoken.
all times, just waiting for you to ask for help.
Yeah.
And if, as an industry, we embrace that, now, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. If we don't embrace it, and if we say, gosh, writing is writing, and we sit here by ourselves and we write it, and it comes from our brain, and we take 6 hours to do the paragraph, we're not gonna I'm gonna say it, we're not gonna survive. Those people who are in that mentality are not gonna survive the next wave of development.
It's kind of like typewriter companies in the mid-'80s. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Early 80s. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. Tell me more about the typewriter companies in the mid-'80s.
For those of you who do not have special silver anniversary hair in honor of GPA's annual summit, there were probably people who were, I am never going to use at what the time was a word processor or what is now a computer,
the
or
beginning
software,
computers,
or your phone or your watch. But although now people collect typewriters as for fun, it's not like we're still using the little machines with the keys that went clicky clack. And so I'm just drawing that parallel.
Oh, no, that's a good parallel. I just didn't get it for a while. But now I'm right into the parallel.
Yes.
I'm
No,
on the
totally makes sense.
97th parallel with you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wherever that
Well,
is.
It's a fun place. Welcome.
well, I'm going to say I have not used any AI writing yet, and mostly just because, you're kind of set in your ways and you keep hearing all these things about it, and I'm like, I'm not ready to wade in those waters yet. However, I love your thought of using it for the dumb stuff. Yes, I'm not going to use it to write my massive federal grant, but can it help me get started on a blog post that I need to get out in 2 hours?
Totally used
Well,
it,
you've done that,
and it's super helpful.
And
But
not that
it's
I'm
a
using
first
it.
draft.
Yeah, I like
me.
the idea of it is a first draft, and it can be a first draft for a lot of things because we all know that editing something is so much easier than staring at that blank page and trying to figure out. Because once I get writing, I am pretty fast, but a lot of times it's that. What's my hook? What am I starting with? I just need that bit of inspiration. And so AI could be that inspiration for, ooh, good idea. Now I can rock and
Or
roll.
it can even be like, no, I would never do that. And you're like, oh, but I would do
But
this.
I could do this.
And then it served its purpose.
Yeah. No, I like that a lot.
Yep.
So
Yep.
thank you for opening my eyes to that.
That's my job. I'm your nerdy best friend.
I appreciate you, nerdy best friend.
So another thing, in addition to the not controversial at all AI, because nobody, is productivity sort of in general. Although this is a crowd, we love office supplies and we love apps. I'll speak for myself. Sometimes I love productivity apps, but then I get all excited and then I don't use them. I finally have worked through that and found things that help me. But I'm just curious about, are there maybe some barriers, even to people who seemingly like that stuff? Are there barriers that they're putting up themselves that are getting in the way of their productivity? And what kinds of things might those be?
One of the things I discovered during COVID
Yep.
is that not everybody thinks like me. And this was like,
What?
what? I am so excited about technology, I can hardly breathe. And I realized that during COVID, because I hadn't had time to think until I lost all my work forever, during the pandemic when we were shut in, and I was like, oh my gosh, not everybody is rushing to use it. What are they doing?
Yeah.
And I realized that I developed a concept of your technology psychology.
Oh, Tell me.
I know, it's got a sexy name. Your technology psychology is the subconscious way you're viewing new technologies that are coming at us that help and hinder you. And there are 3 types.
Nice.
There's the wows,
Yeah.
which is me.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, wow. And we're just like all in it. You're like, I'm the worst student in the world because somebody tells me about something, they're doing a demo, I'm like, shh, 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 shh. I'm playing now, shh, shh. Right? I'm the worst. You can't teach me anything. I have to, I'm in it.
Yeah.
Right
Okay,
then.
you're playing.
Yeah.
Learning by play.
Learning, absolutely. And that's where a lot of people are. They're like, Beth, please stop talking because we all want to go home and play with this.
Yeah.
Those are your wows. Then you've got your weights. And this is my sister. She's a weight. She's a teacher. And she came to some of my classes during COVID that I had online. I think it was pity that she showed up. But
Call it support.
Love.
yeah.
Sisters,
works.
they support, yeah.
No,
Most.
it's probably pity.
Okay, fair. That's also fair. What's
So
fair?
she came to several of them, and one of them was a hands-on one about video and graphic tools.
Okay.
And then later on, last year, her son graduated from high school, and she was like, I want to make a mosaic. And I'm like, she said, but I don't know how to do it. I'm like, oh my gosh.
There's a
that-
tool for that.
I showed you that. You were in the class for that. You put a smiley face emoji when I talked about it in that.
Oops.
Like, what are you thinking? And she's like, oh, yeah. And so I realized that she's a weight.
Yep.
She saw the application for what
Yeah.
we were talking about, but she lives in a 6-week window. And if what I'm talking about, what she hears about, doesn't fit in that 6-week window in front of her, she puts it on the shelf and thinks about it later. But a lot of times she completely forgets where the shelves are,
Yes.
right? She leaves it there and she's like, I've heard of things, but she doesn't go back to them. So we got your wows, your weights, and then we have your whats.
Yeah.
Yeah, your whats. And they have some kind of a barrier against new
Yeah.
technology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether it's a fear that they're not going to get it, they don't have the gray matter, they don't have the hardware, they don't have the software. Whether it's a fear that Bill Gates has a chip that is implanted in this one. They have some kind of barrier,
Yeah.
like distrust, barrier, fear. And so they're like, no, thank you.
Yep.
And they want proof. They want proof before they make that change. These are the people in the office. You have to wait until they go to the bathroom to install the update on the computer because they're just
wow.
not going to do
Oh,
it,
wow.
right?
Wow.
They
Yep.
want proof that before we take that step. So when you have your wows, your weights, and your whats all in the same office, you have people
Yeah.
going, you should try this. And they're like, I'll try it later. And another person says,
I'll
I'm
never
not going to try it.
Yeah.
And you have all this conflict. So the point of this is that once you recognize what your kind of resistance is, like we wows, we spend a lot of money and we don't commit to anything. Right? I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I want it all. And then I just buy it all. And then I'm like, I don't know what to use because the next one might be better. So I better buy that too.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
FOMO.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Technological FOMO. And then you've got your weights who just kind of don't come back to their ideas. And you've got your whats who just don't.
Yeah.
So once you understand kind of how you're coming at it, then you come at it also not from the technology, like we wows come at it from like, this is a cool tool, how can I use it? I want you to not think of it that way. I want you to say, my email takes me way too long. What is out there? These are the specific things that are going wrong. What is out there that will help these problems? Rather than, this is something that has this. Where can I put it in? Coming from the problem rather than
Yeah.
solution is a much better balance.
I'm getting
Absolutely.
excited because it was like
Yes.
talking about stop chasing the money. I mean,
Yes.
there are parallels in helping people. Not every grant opportunity is your opportunity, right? And so
Right.
we spend a lot of time talking to folks and clients about that. And so this is kind of that version. It's like
Yes.
not every tech tool is your tech tool. Maybe think about what it is that you, like you said, what you
do you
don't like
need?
doing.
Yeah.
Because for me, I was like, I don't like cranking out this. I can't make this blog post work. What am I missing? And so I just I did a chat GPT prompt about I need this, an informal tone of voice about these 3 things, and I didn't end up using most of what it said, but it took me to another,
that
and I
place.
could finish it very quickly.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
saved me at least at 30 to 45 minutes.
But now you've got that tool in your toolbox.
Yeah, now I'm like, oh,
that
okay,
you
yeah.
can push back out when
Yep.
you need it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you got it in the access, but you recognized the problem, and there was technology to fix it.
Yeah.
And now I have to make a public service announcement. I'm not saying use ChatGPT to write your grants and never look at them and never check your sources and send it in just like that. That's not what I'm saying.
Yes.
Thank
Good
you.
point. Good point.
That's not what I'm saying.
Well, and I think too, like, what always drives me crazy is like we needed something for project management for some of the work we do. So we tested out a few things, listened to what a few people, we made our decision, we've got it. But I feel like there's always but this is a better version. Oh, and this is the next best thing. But I'm like, but I don't need more than what I have. So I like that. It's not just chasing the shiny new object. It's finding what works for you. And if what works for you and you are productive and you're getting what you need done, then you don't have to get that next new
That's
tool.
what it is.
Yeah. So I like
But again,
that.
going back to that outsourcing thing, are you really productive?
Yeah.
You know, you are spending 3 hours a day on email, but you find that you're used to that. But like, what if you only had to spend 2 hours a day on email?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, just really evaluating and looking at your business and seeing, even if I don't know them as holdups. Here's an example. So my manager does my proposals, right?
Okay.
And we have a whole system, and she's got snippets, you know, she's got descriptions, she just does that. And she does the proposals. So it's like 10 o'clock at night on a Sunday night, and she's texting me, she said, I still have 2 proposals to do. And I just got her an assistant to help, a real person
Okay.
assistant.
A real
Yeah.
person.
And I said, could she do that for you? And she went,
Ta-da!
Yeah.
I think so. Because she wasn't doing the rocket science stuff, but sometimes when we're in it and it's just our task
Yep.
and what we have
Oh,
to do
what
and
you're
it's on
used
our
to.
list.
Yeah.
And she hadn't, and we keep talking about this, we need to stop and evaluate. We haven't had time to stop, y'all.
Yeah.
We need to stop and evaluate what she's doing and where
Right.
she's spending her time
Right.
and where she's getting bogged down to automate some of those things and see if we can pull off the yucky stuff
Oh, yeah.
that she hates doing anyway.
We've had that exact conversation because we just hired our first virtual assistant, 2 months ago,
A real
maybe?
person, but
Yeah,
not
a
in
real
our-
person.
not in Atlanta.
Not local to us. But yeah, I don't know how many times when we're talking about something and I'm like, okay, I'll take that. And Kimberly's like, no, that's busy work that you don't need to be. You
Yes.
need to be focused on
It
this.
needs to be done.
It's
but
important.
You don't need to do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh yeah, we can. Let me put that in our project management and assign
Oh,
it to her.
please.
Thank
Let's
you.
Create
Yes.
a task.
Yes.
It's a lovely thing.
It
Yeah.
is. It
Yes.
is. And getting that revelation, like, I don't have to do this.
Yeah.
I don't have to stay up till whatever to just do this paperwork.
Okay. And now, like twice you've mentioned the email thing. So I don't know that I've heard. What is a tool that can help you do email faster? Because I'm
Nothing.
intrigued.
It's horrible, and I
Nothing?
hate it forever.
Okay. I was
have
like, is there a
talked to
way?
people who've used AI, and this is where I'm going to talk about things that I may use the wrong words, and I'm sorry, but using different, not just ChatGPT, but other forms of other platforms, other tools, and they upload lots and lots of their emails so that then it learns their style, that it is able to best predict the word that would come next, given their
Gotcha. Their style.
I mean,
of
we all
writing.
know it doesn't exactly work that way. It's a mathematical thing, but anyway, its predictive power gets stronger.
Uh huh.
And it was someone in the academy, and they use it to write those longer emails or those sort of proposal in an emails, or at least generate the first draft.
Okay.
But that's all I've got, and I've never done it, so I just thought I would share.
Yeah, I'm just joking about email being.
Yes.
I hate email so much.
Yeah.
So I just hate it all. But
I don't mind it, but I mean, you could easily spend 2 hours of your day every day just doing that and
I
nothing
try
else.
to catch up on Friday afternoons, and then I just give up and go
Yeah.
play with the cats because it's just too much.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Email is there are several things. So if you look at, are you writing the same emails over and over again? Well, I use something called Text Expander, which is not AI,
Right?
but you write these snippets.
Yeah.
I'm taking notes.
On the very quickly, you can write snippets,
Yeah.
and then it expands them. Like I have this one where, gosh, it makes me feel so cute.
Well, you are
someone,
cute.
oh gosh, thank you. Somebody writes me and says, Haley will send off the proposal, and I'm like, oh, I really hope this works out. And then I used to do a little Bitmoji with me doing like this, me right now with my fingers crossed, right?
Yeah.
And then I would have to go and get the Bitmoji and right click on it or download it and then put it in there and write me right now and then put the colon.
It's like
and I was like, that
email
was
boilerplates, right?
Yes. But now I do this little code, colon now, and it plops it in there and I look so cute and it takes a half a second.
I'm expressing joy.
Yes, I know you are. You're like,
Another thing for a team, this is really important with Text Expander, which is not AI at all, so it's kind of funny.
Okay.
But it's so helpful. With Text Expander, with a team, you can have common answers, which is fantastic when somebody writes to you, gets one answer, somebody writes to you, gets one answer, what have you. You can have, and especially when you have an assistant who is actually answering things.
I'm taking notes.
yeah.
And I wouldn't call it boilerplate. I would
that's
call
fair.
it more just
Common
the
phrases?
common language.
Common language.
Yeah.
Right? And they can share theirs and you can share yours with the team version. Because the paid version singularly is like $40 a year. It's a little bit more expensive with the team version.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
But
fair.
you can share that and then you can update it at all times. And then you're going along and you're writing something and it says, hey, you seem to be writing that over and over again. Do you want to create a snippet? And I'm like, yes, where were you all my life? And it's everywhere you are. So you're on the web and, like your whole signature line or
Yeah.
I do a lot of things with online sessions and I have a lot of bells and whistles and things like that. And so I put in there, people always write me and say, how do you do your bells and whistles? And I'm like, I used to avoid writing those back. And now I'm like, :ecam, and it writes this whole thing with all the links for all the things that I tell people about
That's
it.
so cool.
And
Yeah.
poof, and now I can write them back in a second rather than waiting 2 weeks and then being embarrassed and
Yeah.
not.
Oh, and I think about it all the time, like, I've written this before, and it almost takes me more time to find so I can copy and paste and bring it
Yes.
back, and I'm like, I
Yes.
should have just written it, but
Yes.
that's amazing.
You can even make it so that it'll pause in the middle, like, hi, and a pause, and then you put the name.
Yeah.
Like, it'll let you pause and put the name.
I'm like,
Are you okay?
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Well, you're speaking
Yes.
a love language.
Yeah,
to me.
this is a love
So-
language.
and I'm sorry,
Yes.
I'm taking
Like
notes.
they're
Yes, you're
75.
great.
But seriously, that one changed
need
my
to go.
life.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't believe I resisted using this one before. It's like
Yeah.
it's like autocorrect for
All the
everywhere.
things. All the things. Well, we could sit here and talk to you about tech tools
Oh.
all day long because, like Kimberly said, that's our love language. But
It's-
you've got places to be, and we've got an introvert and extrovert section to teach. So
We've all got, yeah.
it's
I
the
can't
Grant
believe
Summit.
it's
We're
over. This
busy.
went so fast.
I
I
know.
know.
So
I
Thank
want to
you.
tell many more. I want
all
to
the
talk
stories
to y'all all day.
Well, here's what we really need you to tell the people. How do they find you? If people are like, oh my gosh, I need Beth Z in my life. She's my
Because-
nerdy best friend. Where do they come to get you?
What's the best way?
YourNerdyBestFriend.com is my
Okay.
site. However,
Yes.
find me on LinkedIn because
Okay.
I'm putting a lot of my AI experiments on there.
Okay.
And it's
LinkedIn.
really a good place to find me is on LinkedIn because it's got.
Can we just put Beth Z in the thing? Will that find you, or do we need your last name?
I
Do we
think-
need your nerdy best friend?
I think it's Nerdy BFF.
Nerdy
Nerdy
BFF
Is
on
a good way to
LinkedIn.
find me, but
Thank you so much.
Yes,
This has
thanks
been
for joining
fantastic. I
us.
well,
really
thank
appreciate
you so
it.
much. I can't believe it went by so fast.